Hello! So, to continue our double feature this week, I get to review a miscellaneous film this week. So, what could be more kind of miscellaneous, zany, weird than a David Lynch movie? Now, I didn't really go with any of his super famous things. I've been on kind of a Twin Peaks kick as of late. I finished the series and I just felt myself needing more. I didn't care what it was. I didn't care if it was quality. I just wanted more Twin Peaks. I wanted more Dale Cooper. I wanted more everything. So the film that I'm going to be talking about this week is Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. This is directed by David Lynch. It's written by the same people who started up the show. And there's really kind of a divide for this film of fans that just love it because it's a little bit more of Twin Peaks and they'll take what they can get, or fans and critics who found it just completely unnecessary and completely exploiting kind of and drawing out the end of a show that really probably should have ended maybe a half season earlier or an entire season earlier. Personally, I really didn't mind kind of all the weird turns that the second season takes. I was just so wrapped up in the characters that I didn't care how far it went. I don't mind bizarre eccentricities, so I completely adored all of Twin Peaks, and I have to say I'm kind of lukewarm on this movie as well. I want to agree with people that say it was unnecessary. It's definitely a darker story. It's definitely a story that's full of bizarre things that don't necessarily need to be taking up space on film. But I'm completely also in the camp of it's a story that kind of needs to be told. Lynch never really got a chance because the series was canceled so early to wrap the story up or really show how it led up to where the series starts. Now, of course, the plot synopsis is all centered around who killed Laura Palmer. I'm not going to spoil that for you because if you still haven't seen the show that's almost 25 years old, I won't ruin that for you. Go check out Twin Peaks so you can see who did kill Laura Palmer, because this movie is the prequel to that. You cannot watch this movie before the Twin Peaks series if you care at all about spoilers. This movie is all about the few days leading up to her eventual death. So without giving away who it is, I'll just kind of be very vague. This film really centers on the inner lives of teenagers, and it's something really interesting to look into because we know in our own communities that most of the teenage kids aren't as good as their parents think they are. And this is a very extreme version of that, but it's an interesting, almost satirization of that. I think in the case of Laura Palmer's story, it's also something that totally needs to be told. There's this kind of ethereal version of her in the series, of this poor girl that's been killed, and you don't know that much about her, so you kind of just idolize her like most of the people in the town and put her up on a pedestal. But this movie really lends a human quality to her character, which I think is much needed in the series and we don't see it all. So I think this movie makes her seem more human, and you can kind of understand how she got into the horrible situation she got into, and how there are some external factors that lend to her death, but unfortunately there are also a lot of things that she instigated herself. And I think it's something really interesting when we look at ourselves and begin to understand that some of our problems we kind of brought on ourselves. Some things we could have avoided. I know I'm going super deep in this, but it kind of hit me hard. It wasn't an amazing movie. I would say the first act was just something completely unneeded. Although I do love me some Chris Isaac, and he can be in anything, I'll watch it. But for some reason, just the idea of the movie, I think, is what really got me, because it was something that I felt was very unfulfilled in the TV series. So while I think this is a pretty lackluster movie, and I know a lot of the actors involved in it really didn't appreciate it that much, I think it's something necessary for the story and for the completion of the characters. Even though it's a prequel, I think it very much does continue kind of the vindication of certain characters and making the arc of some other characters like Laura Palmer more evident. This is a really weird movie. There's some things in it that, if you're not into Lynch, will completely turn you off. So unfortunately this week, I know I'm reviewing a movie that's kind of, in a niche, but I would highly recommend this movie to any Twin Peaks fan that has not checked it out yet. Spoilers abound, but go for it. But this is also a great chance to say, if you have not seen the Twin Peaks TV series, go and check it out. It is different, it's eccentric, but at the same time, you will constantly question yourself how this ever got on TV in 1990. It's one of the most beautifully shot, richly scored TV series that I've ever seen, and it'll make you want to watch this movie whether you end up liking the film or not. So that was my review for this week. I hope you check out not only the movie but the show, and we'll be back next week to talk about some more movies with you guys. Bye!